Hi, Cupid's crew. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Happily Ever After. As you can see, I am solo today. Unfortunately, Paula has a prior commitment and won't be able to join us today, but she will be back next week, no worries. But we decided that we shouldn't skip a week, and we wanted me to talk about something that I'm passionate about that was relevant to our podcast. And so, as you all can tell from the past couple episodes, I've been obsessed with off campus. And what a perfect opportunity to talk about it in this episode because there are over 10 different nods to classic rom-coms throughout the off-campus show. I mean, it is crazy. They're great rom-coms. They're not ostentatious. They're not obvious. They're subtle, but some of them are like, oh my God, yes, I so see it. And I really just want to take the time to talk about them because this is a rom-com podcast. So what better way to take a moment? And since Paula is not as obsessed as I am, my time to shine. So for all of my off-campus fans and girlies out there, super excited to dive in. And I just want to say I could not have done this without you. Some of them I was able to find on my own, but a lot of them, thanks to the internet and Instagram and Facebook, you guys helped me out. So I just want to say super grateful for all of you for helping me find some and for ones that I didn't even realize were out there. So it's really a community and I'm super excited to dive in. And in the words of our alley cat, I am completely and utterly obsessed with this. So let's dive in. The first and most obvious one that I think everyone always thinks of first when they see off campus is 10 Things I Hate About You. And I think this is a really good one because Heath Ledger and Belmont Cameli are two beautiful men, obviously, but I think they both do such a good job playing the love interest. I mean, they're both, like I said, gorgeous. They have a great smile, the curly hair, but they both have that charisma. And they both pulled it off so well. And I was watching an interview that the director and the producers did with I believe it was, I don't remember where the interview was, but they were talking about how they were searching and searching for their Patrick Verona. And then finally Heath Ledger came in for the interview or for the audition. And once he auditioned, they knew it was him. Like he was it. And I can honestly say I cannot picture anybody else playing Patrick Verona. And I feel the same way about Garrett Graham for Belmont Cameli. I mean, as a fan of the books, I can honestly tell you that he is exactly who I pictured. Like, to a T. I mean, really spot on with the casting. So I think two really strong leads for these roles was super awesome. The second biggest connection that everyone made is the grand gesture. And in 10 Things I Hate About You, Patrick Verona puts on this performance outside the high school, gets the band involved, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, to Kat, trying to win her back in a way. And Hannah does sort of the same thing. She does a grand gesture. It's not in front of everyone, it's private, and it's only for Garrett in the ice rink, but it's one of his songs that he really likes. And so it was very meaningful and super cute. And I really liked the gender reversal here. I loved that it was Hannah putting on a public display of affection instead of the guy. I feel like in a lot of rom-coms, it's always in that third act that the guy, the man, usually the man is always trying to like make up for something. And so I really liked that in this situation, it was Hannah and it was a girl. And I think she did a phenomenal job. The third one that I don't think too many people caught on to, but I thought of it right away, only because I loved this scene in the book and I also loved it in the movie, was Patrick Verona at the party follows Kat around, trying to make sure she's okay, ask her questions, and then when she's doing her crazy dance on the table, she falls off the table and he catches her. And he spends the rest of the night kind of making sure she's okay, that she doesn't throw up, and keeping her conscious. And it instantly reminded me of Garrett and Hannah at karaoke night when Garrett says to Hannah, "You can drink, like trust me, I'll watch your drink and I'll look after your best friend," which what does Garrett do in true Garrett Graham fashion? He watches her and he makes sure that she's okay and her best friend is okay. And I just love that we had these two chivalrous men show up and honestly not try to assault or rape or even try to take advantage of these women. They were there for them and supported them, and we're just good guys. And we need that all the time. We need that man energy. We need that Garrett Graham, Patrick Verona energy. So I really liked seeing that, I guess, act of chivalry, progress through time. The fourth, I'm losing count of all the all the 10 things I hate about you analogies. The fourth one is when Kat is in the club and she's dancing with her friends, letting loose, having a good time. The camera turns to Patrick, Heath Ledger, and he just has this look in his face, in his eyes, like in awe of this woman. Like, wow, she is just such a beautiful person, like just letting loose, enjoying herself and having fun. And you see that same look on Garrett's face when Hannah is singing, not just karaoke night, but at the showcase in the last episode. And I just love seeing the gaze, the smile, just the sense of pride. Because, you know, a lot of times we feel like, or maybe as women, I'm making an assumption here, we sometimes don't feel like we get our partner's support or reciprocation. And so seeing that reciprocation on display was really sweet, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm very happy that the directors both made sure that that was a point, and that that Patrick, not Patrick either, oh my God, that Heath Ledger and Belmont really took the time to make sure their facial expressions really told that story. And so I really appreciated that. Another small one that I don't know if many people noticed was when Patrick keeps trying to pester Kat to go out with him. She says, "You just don't give up, do you?" And in the TV show, Hannah says to Garrett, you don't give up, do you?" And so it was nice to see that exact line repeated in a different way. And so those were pretty much my takes from 10 Things I Hate About You to Off Campus. And I just really wanted to share those with you, and I'm very excited about that. The next one, which we did talk about, I believe, a couple weeks ago on our To All the Boys I've Loved Before episode. I'm going to keep it super brief because, like I said, we already talked about this a little bit, was essentially they're both a deal. I mean, oh my God, I'm going back to that 10 Things I Hate About You. Peter and Covey make a deal to help make someone jealous and to help her kind of feed off the rumors of all the letters. And then Garrett and Hannah make a deal to help her make someone jealous, get a guy, and for Garrett to kind of benefit from tutoring. And I just loved that we see a high school kind of deal, and then we see a college level deal. And I think the coolest thing about this was when me and Paula were talking about this in our To All the Boys episode, we talked about the feasibility of this happening in high school. And I think from what I remember, I could be wrong, we both said it didn't really seem possible. It seemed a little, far-fetched, but I really think in college, it's definitely more possible. When you're adults, you're kind of more established. You're also kind of on your own. You don't have parents around. You have this sense of freedom. You could do what you want. And so this whole idea of the deal and exchanging for something just seems a little bit more feasible and realistic for a college level student. And then the last three things I wanted to mention was Patrick Verona is stuck in my head. Peter Kavinsky gives Laura Jean Covey the nickname of Covey, and Garrett gives Hannah Wells the nickname of Wellesley. So we get Covey and Wellesley, which is so stinking cute. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think any guy has ever given me a nickname. Or maybe they have and they just never told me to my face, or maybe I did get nicknames. I don't know. To all the men I've maybe have been with, if you had a good nickname for me, please reach out to me. I would love to know it. Oh my God. I just thought of 2 nicknames I probably had, and I can't share them on this podcast right now. But if you DM me, I promise I will share them with you. How's that? So looking forward to all those DMs, everyone. The last 2 things that I wanted to say about this movie was that both of these boys fell first. I mean, wholeheartedly nosedived in, fell first for these girls. And like, who wouldn't fall for these girls? They're beautiful, they're talented, they're smart, and just they hold themselves so well. So of course these boys fell first. And then the last analogy, which I'm sure we talked about in that episode, was that Peter is the lacrosse jock and Garrett is the hockey jock. So really loved those 2 sports that were represented. And I feel like they're not common sports. When I think of sports TV shows or movies, I think of football or soccer or basketball. I don't really think of hockey or lacrosse, especially lacrosse. So it was really nice to see 2 sports that maybe weren't as prevalent in our society. My hat is really bothering me. I did it because I have kind of bad hair today, but I think I'm going to take it off. But shout out to American Eagle for this amazing hat. Yeah, we're going to take the hat off. Okay. Anyway, next movie. This one I didn't catch on to, and so I'm so happy that Briar U off-campus fan burst was able to find this one for me. When Allie and Dean are walking around Dean's apartment and Dean's showing Allie around, Allie says to Dean, "So what's your move?" And it was a direct relation to Crazy Stupid Love when Hannah is showing Jacob Palmer, or when Jacob Palmer and Hannah get to the house, and Jacob Palmer's, trying to takes off his shirt, he's, showing off, and Hannah says to Jacob Palmer, "So what's your move?" I mean, when I saw it, I finally understood it and it made perfect sense. So I'm so happy that I was able to find it on Instagram. And even better than that, are you ready? The move that Jacob Palmer does is also a nod to Dirty Dancing. It is the Dirty Dancing move, which is another movie that is super prevalent in off campus. Like 1, 2, 3, a triangle. I love the connection. And so with that, we'll go into Dirty Dancing, which is my favorite movie rom-com of all time. I cannot wait to do an episode on it. I love, love, love this movie. In fact, my car's name is Johnny, after Johnny from Dirty Dancing. And I kid you not, when Hannah said the line in the movie, "I carried a watermelon," I paused the show, pulled my phone, texted my bestie off-campus group chat, and was like, "Guys, did I hallucinate? Like, am I convulsed? Like, what is happening?" And I had to rewind it, and I screamed. My dog ran away because he was like, "What's going on, mommy? Are you seizing?" It was amazing, and so I love that. But even better, I love that Garrett's character comes back and overhears it and says to Hannah, "Your references are outdated." I love that Garrett is cultured and knows that reference, and it just gives him more points above Josh or Justin. No. His name is Josh. The character's name is Justin. I'm sorry, off-campus fans. I will try to get this right. It's just a tongue twister, So I really appreciate that. And then another one that I didn't notice until I was in the Instagram verse of off-campus and really doom scrolling, diving deep, was when Tucker is at Shakespeare, drunk Shakespeare. He's carrying a watermelon and he's holding it, which of course we all know Baby in Dirty Dancing carries a watermelon, and that was the iconic line. So I really loved seeing my favorite movie mentioned in now my new favorite show about a book that I love and felt so strongly about and made me fall in love with reading again. So yay. Next one, I didn't know because, to be fair, people, please don't attack me. I am not a Twilight person. I watched the movies, I saw them. I took part in the Team Edward, Team Jacob. I know Steven is a huge Twilight person, or I think he said that was his comfort movie. So Steven, if you watch this, please don't come after me. But I did notice the Twilight nod where Garrett and Hannah both touch hands when they reach for the vent in the Jeep. And you see kind of this static of like feeling and like, I don't know, connection, which apparently there was a nod to that in Twilight. And Edward and Bella had the same thing. So I'm happy all the Twilight fans got to witness that and feel that. The next one that I saw, which I loved, and I just have to say the costume department, I know who it was. I think it was Charlene is her name. Whoever made all the costumes, did the costume work for this show, hands down, nailed it. When Hannah dresses up as the Puck Bunny, Playboy Bunny, I want to say Puck Bunny because it's a hockey show and everyone knows, and especially if you've read the books, there's this whole Puck Bunny analogy. So for the sake of this episode and for our terms right now, we're going to call her Puck Bunny, even though it was a bunny costume. Directly nodded to Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, another iconic rom-com. And they both just look so good, carry it so well. But the one that not many people caught on to in the, ether was that Bridget Jones' Diary, which was our first episode, and I know Paul and I talked about this heavily in the first episode and how it was a nod to Legally Blonde. Bridget shows up to her family's party as a Playboy bunny. So I think this year's Halloween costume is going to be a Playboy bunny, if not J-Lo and Maverick. I'm calling it right now. So be a bunny, people. Be a bunny. And I just loved that it nodded not only Legally Blonde, but Bridget Jones' Diary. So we got a twofer for this one. And it was really awesome. So all of these movies were great. They were more recent rom-coms that were nods and just woven throughout the show. But I think the biggest thing that I loved most about Off Campus and all the other rom-coms that were mentioned that I'm going to say in the next couple of minutes are the nod to the 80s. I love, love the 80s. When people ask me, oh, what decade would you go back to if you can like hop in your DeLorean and, plug back the flex capacitor? Like, what would you do? I would say the 80s. I think the fashion, the vibes, the hair, the style. I already said fashion, but like just like the music, the movies, like everything just looks so carefree. There was no social media. It just seemed so independently fun. And I really loved it. And so I honestly think that Off Campus was a love letter to the 80s and to John Hughes, because there were several movies in here that he directed that were nodded to in the show. And so I just want to say huge shout out and thank you to Louisa Levy sorry, Levy, if that's not how you say her name. I'm Jewish, so to me it's Levy. To Louisa and the rest of the crew who really did such a thoughtful, great job of interweaving these movies and not doing it in a way that was showy or obvious or even just, I want to say it was just so expertly done and with such class. And I really appreciated it as someone who is such an 80s fan and who loves these movies and has seen them over and over. So thank you from a true fan. And without further ado, we're going to go into the 80s references. The one that came to me right away in the opening montage scene when Garrett and Hannah are practicing and dancing like side by side, I immediately thought of Footloose. When you see her red shoes doing the dance, I immediately thought of the red shoes and all the shoes in the Footloose opening sequence when all the shoes are dancing. But that wasn't the one that a lot of people caught on to first. I mean, trust me, I consulted the off-campus universe, and that was definitely one that they caught on to. But the bigger one was my favorite 80s movie next to Dirty Dancing, obviously. Is Dirty Dancing an 80s movie? I know it doesn't take place in the 80s, but I think it came out in the 80s. I should know this. Clearly, I'm not a true fan. Anyway, was The Breakfast Club. When the crew is dancing in the library after they got stoned together, they're all dancing, having a good time. And everyone said that the moves that Hannah was doing were, I guess, mimicked those of the library crew. And I could definitely see it, but that wasn't the one that I first thought of like, yes, right away. But either way, I loved that opening montage and scene, and it was really fun to see Hannah and Garrett kind of both enjoying the same song in their elements with nods to these classic 80s movies. The big one that everyone is talking about, and the one that I think is the bit that honestly was done the best, was the 16 Candles nod. It really was so perfect and beautifully done. When Allie and Dean are sitting in the windowsill playing the chess game, that is a direct nod to 16 Candles when Jake, Ryan, and Samantha are sitting on the table with the birthday cake. And it just, the way that it was done, the stylization of it, the dark, moody set of it. First of all, I love that it was a chessboard. And I think that's indicative of, or represents Allie and Dean's relationship. Their whole relationship is kind of strategy, trying to hide from their friends, trying to figure out when they're going to say something, when they're going to tell, when they're sneaking around. Is Sean going to find out? Like all of this is a strategy. And I think, I mean, I'm not a huge chess player, but I feel like chess is a very big strategy game. So I wonder if Louisa Levy and the team chose chess purposely because that wasn't in the book. Or maybe it was in the book and I just don't remember. Okay, please don't come at me, off-campus fans, but please let me know if I'm wrong. But I just thought that was really cute. And especially for a movie, a TV show that takes place in 2026, they could have easily been playing, on an iPad playing chess, or they could have been playing a video game or doing something like Pokemon Go. Is that even still a thing? Pokemon Go? They could have been doing something digitalized, but they did something so novel and classic as chess, which is a classic in itself and a nod to the classic movie of 16 Candles. And I really enjoyed it. Plus the chess pieces, the candles, moving around. I don't know. It was just done so perfectly. And Allie is the epitome of this strong, independent female of 2026, rocking her body, finally embracing her singlehood and freedom and the decisions for herself and following her dreams. And you could just tell she feels so comfortable and her guard is down with Dean. And Samantha in 16 Candles finally got to have her man and got to share that moment with her on her birthday. And so really enjoyed seeing those two parallels. The second one from 16 Candles was when Garrett Graham is waiting outside for Hannah to come out of the showcase and he's leaning against the car. Is a direct nod to when Jake Ryan's leaning against the car in 16 Candles. My favorite thing about this catch, though, is every single person who's made this reference or made this connection noticed that Belmont Camelli is as tall as that damn car. And let me tell you, ladies, I had the privilege of meeting Belmont in person. And I mean, I say Belmont like we're BFFs, but like we're not. I've met this man in person, and he is actually that tall. He is a giant. I mean, let me preface it by saying I am 4'9". I hope Paula is going to edit and show the picture that I'm talking about next. When I met him, please note I was wearing 4-inch heels in the photo. So I'm 4'9", wearing 4-inch heels, and that's Belmont Camelli. I mean, hello, how's the weather up there? But I have to tell you, he was the friendliest giant. He is so, so sweet. And I didn't even feel tiny. And so just looking at the photo, I feel tiny, but in person, I think I was so overwhelmed, but really sweet. Loved that all the off-campus fans caught on to this height difference, but it wasn't like super obvious either. Especially because he's not like a basketball player. Maybe that's why, because his sport was hockey, not basketball. I don't know. Oh my God, I just did the 6'7" thing. So yeah, that was the other 16 Candles nod. The last one that I want to talk about for the 80s is when I saw this scene, I thought of a different movie. And I think the reason why I did is because I have not seen the movie that everyone else is referring to, which I hear Paula in the ethernet and all of the people who watch our podcast saying, how dare you do a rom-com podcast and you haven't seen She's All That? Like, come on. And I hear you guys, and I promise you, I will watch it after this, but we're going to talk about it. When Hannah comes down the stairs in her Puck Bunny costume, that is a direct nod to She's All That. When Lainey comes down the stairs and Zach sees her, I thought it was really cute. But for me, the reference that I thought of was Clueless, when Cher Horowitz comes down the stairs in her white dress and Josh is staring at her and then like jokingly says to the dad, like, you're going to let her go out like that? That was the reference that I got, especially because of the white costume, the white dress, like the analogy made sense. And I was surprised to not see too many people catch on to that one in the, ether. So, or not ether, the internet. Is ether and internet? Can I use that interchangeably? I hope so. Either way. But those are the two those are the two for that down the stairs scene. The last movie that I guess is not really a throwback, but it's an OG rom-com. And once again, I have not seen it. And I feel ashamed for hosting a rom-com podcast and not seeing this iconic movie. I feel like this whole episode was kind of a spill the popcorn, but this is a real, I guess, spill the popcorn. Louisa Levy told Yahoo News that the split screen display of Hannah and Garrett throughout the show, when they're talking on the phone in the beginning dance montage, is a direct homage to the classic rom-com of When Harry Met Sally. And like I said, I have not seen Harry Met Sally, but thanks to the internet and Instagram, I've been able to see the side-by-sides, and it looks pretty damn accurate, gotta say. So that one was really good. I now need to watch When Harry Met Sally. I have a few minutes left, so I want to talk about two other ones that aren't movies, but are still great shows. I have not seen Friends. We've all been over this. Paula has hassled me about it. We're not going to get into it in any more detail, but Allie and Dean in the bathtub is a direct correlation to Chandler and Monica when they're in the bathtub. Super cute. I saw the images. Makes sense. But the last one, which is super near and dear to my heart, is One Tree Hill. I am a huge OTH fan, and Antonio Cipriani is a huge OTH fan as well. And in fact, when I met him at the Page to Screen and Everything in Between event, I got to talk to him about this, which was super, super fun. I said to him, and this was before the show came out, I hope if he doesn't remember this conversation, it's totally fine. He's met so many fans. But I wanted to just say that I said to him, I hope that One Tree Hill, all of the music that they brought and the new artists and just the musical gift that they gave to everyone is the same one that on off campus will give. And he said, you know what? I think he said, I forget exactly what he said, but he said he was hoping and he thinks it was going to be. And I have to say, now that I've seen the show, I really do feel like off campus is this generation's One Tree Hill, not only because of the music that they're giving us, but also because it's our Nelly. Speaking of Nelly, hear me out on this for a second. Hannah and Garrett don't have a couple name. I mean, there's the Wellesley of it all, but what's their couple name? Is it Gara or Hannah, Gara, or is it, Gramsey? Gramsey wouldn't work. So off-campus fans, help me think of a nickname for Garrett and Hannah so that we can get a Nelly out of this. But all of the musical artists that were featured on One Tree Hill have gone on to become super big. Some of them haven't gone on super big, but it still gave them a platform and gave them a voice, which same thing with all these artists who are on off campus. I mean, G Flip, The Bleaches, Remy Wolf, or Beaches, sorry, not Bleaches. Oh my God. The Beaches, Remy Wolf. I mean, all of these artists who are already, have an audience and now have an even bigger audience because of off campus. I mean, look at the off campus effect that has been happening. J-Lo has 1 billion views for On the Floor. Like, insane. But back to One Tree Hill. Nathan is the star of the basketball player, failing his class, needs a tutor. Who does he go to? Haley, the musically talented tutor. Same thing with Garrett, kind of star of the hockey player, not really doing well in his class, needs Hannah, the musically inclined tutor, to kind of help him out. What ends up happening? They both fall in love with their tutors. Super cute. I loved the music connection of both of these. And there's several parallels side by sides of how Garrett and Hannah mimic Nathan and Haley. And my favorite one is when Haley is singing on stage, or when Garrett or Hannah is singing on stage. Nathan and Garrett's characters both look at them, and it's kind of similar to the Patrick Verona analogy as well in the beginning. The look in their eyes, they're both just so proud of these women, seeing them do what they love and doing it so beautifully. And so I love seeing that nod as well. The one thing I will say that we need, and I know all the off-campus fans agree with me, give Antonio Cipriani the mic. Like, Bethany Joy Lenz had an amazing voice, has an amazing voice, gave her Haley James Scott, went on tour, became this giant music star. Antonio has the voice. Let's pass him the mic, please. Let this man sing. Let him get it out. Come on, girlfriends. Like, come on. Lisa, get on it, girlfriend. That would be my one quip. So just wanted to say that. And I wanted to also wrap up by saying thank you all so much for joining us today, or me today, and letting me kind of go on my tangent about my obsession with off campus. But I think it makes sense for this podcast, considering we're all about rom-coms, and all these classic rom-coms were featured in this TV show. I will leave you guys with 2 questions. My first question is, what was your favorite nod? For me, it was Dirty Dancing, because that's my favorite movie. So I really loved the Dirty Dancing one. But what was your favorite one, fans? And which one was it done subtly? Was it done too obviously? Tell me about what your favorite moment was and why. And then my second question, which hopefully if the cast and crew are watching this, what do you want for the next season? What classic rom-coms do you want to see brought into those? And let's see if maybe they come true. Considering the cast is filming season 2 right now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get renewed for a 3 and 4. So without further ado, we're going to conclude the podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming, and shout out to Girl Tribe for the cute merch. And also, I couldn't do this podcast episode without Belmont Cameli's signed pizza box behind me. So, all right, with that, have a great day.